Alright guys, so welcome to, I guess, a new guide. This one's going to be covering my take on doing zammy. This is at 1k enrage with magic, obviously. So while I'm just rolling through the witches here, I'm gonna just kind of go over a couple things. First is, as you can see, I am not using a familiar. I'm not using tier 99 prayers. As far as my relic goes, I don't have conservation of energy. Um, I believe I'm just using like Fury of the Small, the Font of Life, and like Persistent Enrage. So nothing special. I'm gonna be doing my best to kind of go over how I approach it, what I do, how I attempt to do. So I am very stingy on my iron with stuff. So like I said, I'm not using a familiar. I don't really vuln all that much. I almost never smoke cloud. There's a lot of things that I don't do that you can very easily do on like a main account or honestly any other account where you just actually have resources to make these kills easier. On top of that, I specifically am using this clip because it is littered with mistakes from literally just the very beginning. And that's kind of to show that even if everything's not going super smoothly or how you want it to, don't be discouraged, right? You can get the kill as long as you just kind of know what you're doing. It might be longer than you'd like, it might not go quite as easily as you like, but in my experience, more often than not, at least for me personally, I'm making a lot more mistakes than everything going flawlessly, right? Like I might walk in for a kill or two, but it's like a 5-to-1 ratio on kills going absolutely miserably, and then I'll get a random, oh, that was a nice kill. So with that said, when I'm doing the witches, on this last witch I've had two, the only really specific thing here is I try to always end you with the sonic wave, just so when I surge and dive over to the pad, it gives me 10% refund kind of thing on sunshine. I'll target cycle and hit him with a combust, dive over, do my sunshine, a pot, divert. As you can see, I try to always divert resonance, things like that, with my spirit shield active, just for a higher return. I tsunami, fracture staff, that whole build up, and the mistakes start already right here. So what I try to always do is, as you can see, I'm hitting my runic charge, and then I G-conk, and then I do that into an Omni for a pretty big chunk of this red HP. I did not get any Adren back on my G-conk, so I could not Omni, so I had to Wild Magic instead, and it was way less effective. And then I was just doing a flat Omni after. At this point in time, normally he'd be closer to like 60k HP. So, like I said, right off the rip, it's just not going how I want it to. But just throw your wild magic, smoke tendrils, staff specs, EOFs, whatever you got. The only real thing in the fight that's like a genuine you kind of really want to try to go for is skipping this here melee slam in that red HP. You want to try to phase him before that point. Beyond that, there's obviously optimizations and proper, like this would be a better time to phase as opposed to this, but there's not really any set rule. It's kind of do whatever you do and do whatever's comfortable. This reso here is fairly free. It's very, very in between autos. So then I'm just kind of trucking over to pad 4, and doing damage trying to get him close to that threshold. You'll see a lot of people like to actually dump a little bit more damage and get him into gray HP at this point, so that way they can kill the witch and the demon at the same time, so they don't have to go up and down multiple times and get that stacking debuff. Me personally, I hate the gray HP management, so I always opt out of that, and I'll get him close, and now that he's at that threshold, I can do like a wild magic into some bleeds, and then move on. I'll do the staff spec or, magma, any of that stuff, and then I'll go kill the witch. So that is, again, kind of a dealer's choice here as to if you'd rather phase into gray and nuke it all at once, or take it one at a time. Just note also, once you hit the 1000 enrage, the witch does open up with an omni power. So just be conscious of that. It'll hit hard if it catches you off guard if you're not on mage prey, but it also allows for a point after each teleport up to the witch for a very big heal or divert, depending on your situation. Now starting on this pad, moving on to the second set of mistakes is you usually try to come out of the witch with like 100% adren, so you can instantly drop your sunshine, divert, tsunami, so all before the refund. I didn't do that. I failed miserably. I didn't even have my sonic wave, so I only got the tsunami, and then I had the fraction staff after. It's just mistakes happen, and they happen all the time. So here, if you are better than me, a lot of time you'll see people skipping this entirely. They'll phase out of red right into the cage and nuke the whole thing. I never do that. I pretty much always get this rune into this melee slam. Again, it's a lot slower, but it's just more consistent for me. So another free heal, and I'm just, my damage isn't all that amazing, so I just kind of roll through the mechanics. So you're going to get your anticipate, your stun on tick here. You can always anticipate, queue up an asphyx into an impact. If you don't have the timing for that, you can build up and do an immort instead and just let it nuke you. It won't be overlapping with anything on this phase because the next mechanic's the adrenaline cage, so you don't need the immort. You can use it absolutely freely here. So now I do something a little weird, right? I path him down under the pad 3, and that is just so the witch comes to me, so I don't have to go surging off or anything. And you'll see I'm doing nothing here. I'm stalling, I'm waiting for this adrenaline cage. I'm just going to throw a reflect, soul split, and it'll just help my damage output a little bit. I kind of do that pretty much every time, unless I am very much so on the verge of dying, in which case I will either devotion or I'll reflect and do mage prayer instead of soul split. Again, totally up to you how you handle it. Just kill the witch and then head on back down. Again, as you can see, my adrenaline is miserable, so try to do my diverts, at least get some things up before the adrenaline refund. Alpha Soa, and do like a wild magic or something on the protector just to get it killed. And now this is the only spot in the fight that's a little, I'd say, dicey, hairy. So take it how you want. You're gonna get a melee slam here, and there it is. So depending on your comfort level, as you can see there, I just did I stacked a reflect and a debilitate on the melee slam, and now I can devotion and I can use the resonance, and it's completely free, right? Because devotion will make sure that my resonance isn't sniped. Alternatively, if you want to just devotion the melee slam, you can still reso this explosion. You just have to make sure it is on ticks. You'd hit it right there. As that auto hits you, you'd hit your resonance. And so if you are using revolution the way I am, make sure you're not attacking, or make sure you're in the middle of a channel like asphyx or smoke tendrils. That way you can reso exactly when you need to, and you're not going to somehow be messed up on the timing where you're like in between GCDs. So again, that part's a little finicky, but as you can see, it works either way, whatever you want to do. Um, if you do the devotion on the melee slam, then obviously you're saving the adrenaline on the debil and the reflect. It's really whatever makes you happy. So again, queuing up the anticipate, the asphyx into the impact right when I teleport out, and killing the demon. So a couple things to note. As of this video's release on the day of, they actually made a slight change to asphyx. If you channel it the whole time, you see on my buff bar that like 2 seconds, it gives you basically your next two abilities. It's a crit chance, so even if you don't have the best in slot armor and stuff, it's still worth sometimes. I find just at least on the demon and the witch, just kind of using these asphyx, you might as well. So now I'm just kind of running over to pad 6 and waiting for this cage. Again, reflect, soul split, it's just giving me some decent damage back. And I'm nuking. So it's, again, you can take it as slow or quick as you want. Not necessarily in any crazy rush, but the goal would be to phase him after the adrenaline cage. That's typically the most common slash safest slash best option of phase timing is always after that adrenaline cage. So, and then right there you see I tried to divert coming in on the witch, and of course she decided to splash. So again, it's just sort of like everything's not going exactly as planned. Now my divert's on cooldown, so that was dumb of me, and it's I divert here, but it's too late. He already is done doing autos, and we're getting like it's just a littered with mistakes. So here you're just building up to your more do whatever you want to do. I think I mentally farted, yeah, and I just didn't fix, so I wasted a lot of free damage time by stunning him a couple GCDs early. It's things happen in the kills. It's just how it goes. So you'll see also just another note, because again I'm stingy. If I'm doing things like immort or reflect, you can actually throw on your shield, use it, and then take off your shield like back to your dual wield, and the effect will still persist even without your shield, and it'll make it free as far as like runes for bone shield. So you'll see I do that a lot. Now just keep in mind that's only for defensives where they aren't affected by your shield tier, right? Like reflect. So here, as you can see, I swapped to mage break because my HP was very low. But again, we're just kind of rolling through and doing some damage as we run. I don't think I even phased him in time here. I might have gotten the curl again. Nope, okay, I just get it in time. So yeah, you can use your shield for like, I'd say, free defensives in that aspect of taking it on and off, but again, that only works for things where the shield itself doesn't actually matter. So there you can see I did the resonance on the Omni for a pretty chunky heal for free. But if you use your shield for something like barricade, or you have your shield on when you do something like debilitate, and then you take your shield off, it'll actually turn off. Then, like you'll lose it. Debilitate will then reset and be gone. So just keep in mind of when you are on shield swapping, camping kind of deal. And again, we're just trying to come out of each pad and doing the best damage we can. And this here is why we try to phase after the adren cage, because the red mechanic is the curl, so it's just free soul split, heals, damage. It's all that. There's nothing really to panic about. After this point, usually after that immort pops, you can do a free heal like that. It's just to get you back. You don't need to. And after this pad 1 is charged, just know for soul split flicking, it can be the timing gets a little different because you're getting two autos, so just be conscious of that. Um, Now you'll see with the rune, this ring, I try to always stand in the southwest. That's just the most likely spot where you're not going to get slammed by smoke constantly. Now, obviously, it did not work here, so that's cool. So you see, I almost died because I forgot about the melee slam. My overload ran out. It's just a whole. Like I said, most of my kills go like this, where it's just kind of a struggle the whole time. So you'll also see a lot of people phasing prior to this, right? Is doing more damage and phasing right after that melee slam. Sometimes I can, most times I can't. Just again, just kind of kill him as you kill him is one of those things. So just do the best you can with what you got. It's really not a huge deal. Like I said, there are better times to do things. Like if you manage to phase him after the melee as opposed to that curl, then again, his next mechanic, once you go in, would be the curl. So then you'd have a free shot to just camp soul split and heal all the way back up and do damage. But there isn't. It's not. There's no rule, right? It's just a take it how you will, whatever's comfortable. And then on this last phase, as you're doing your build, you can either A, hop off the pad right as it charges, or do what I do. I just throw Mage Prey on and I make sure I anticipate before it charges, and then I don't get the stun. The reason I do that is if I hop off the pad to not get hit by that Chaos Trap explosion, I have found right here at this point, the ring, I will inevitably forget that I didn't pop it, and I will try to dodge the ring by moving over, and I'll step on the pad and I'll kill myself. So it's just, I found it's just more consistent for me to do it because at least in that moment I am prepared for it, as opposed to it catching me off guard because I do something stupid. Now here with the twin shot active, you'll just need to make sure after this auto here, you wait to see both hit splats come through, and then you can use your resonance. So if you do the same timing as before, where after you see the auto go through and then you just instantly reso, that second hit splat will snipe it. So it's still mainly free, just be a little bit more conscious of that. As far as anything else, on this last pad, you can go as slow as you want. You can phase it as quickly as you want. I like to go a little bit slower. I can kind of use this opportunity to camp the dual wields and build up some of my stacks, like the passive stacks on the demon. Just kind of catch my breath if it's been a exceptionally stressful kill. Right, this is just a little relax, hang out in Infernus, kill the demon. There's really nothing that can get to you. Kind of mental breather escape. So I just like to do that personally, but however you want to do it. So trying to come into now phase 7, you'll see I have semi-low HP. I do try to enter at less than half just for that the pad 6 buff to make it a little easier. And you'll see on my screen I have it as tab, and that's Ice Barrage. And with the changes, you don't need to 4-tick anymore. So you're gonna click towards Zammy to run in. That way, no matter where the demon spawns, you'll be close enough that you're not gonna target cycle or rune. And I'm just spamming my tab button, and I will Ice Barrage the demon. And then you're just building to your Sunshine, so I'll usually do that, drop an Omni, and then I'm running in to, place my Sunshine. You'll use the Sonic, and then you can get your Sunshine. I'll throw like a bleed on him there, and depending on his HP, I'll either Tsunami him, or I'll just kind of let the bleed take care of it. Then you're moving on, and you're just gonna Tsunami one rune, and you're gonna FSOA the next rune. I like to pop my devotion here, and this is another part where I am a terrible player and I'm a very lazy iron. I haven't done the quest yet for spellbook swap. If you have, and also if you've, now that they've reduced the limit farm point, you have disruption shield. After this melee slam, you could, at this point now, you could use your Vit Pot, spellbook swap into a disrupt, all that stuff. Obviously I don't have that, so you see I ate one of my sailfish soups just to bump up my HP a little bit before I Vit Pot, and I use Reflect. That brought me down to 4,000 HP. It hit for 10k. If you had Disruption Shield on top of that, it would have hit for even less, probably like 5,000 or 6,000, and it would have been absolutely survivable and in no way anything worth panicking over. I'm sure I'll get around to it one day. But just know, again, there are plenty of options to you to make this a lot better than the way I do it. So I have my Reflect in the build up, and then I'll just sit on a Tendrils to make sure I have full adren, and I'll survive the melee with a Resonance and then a Morph. And this is pretty much consistent for me every time. You can obviously much easier do 1 cycles, do more damage. There's so many options here. I personally do not like going full throttle for the 1 cycle. It's just, for me personally, I'd rather kind of go low and slow and guarantee the kill with a 2 cycle. But that's, again, that's a dealer's choice kind of thing. You whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you comfortable, you do. So as long as he's under that 100 to 120,000 HP, it's pretty free. But you'll see in this clip, I mess up again. I still get the kill, but I mess up again. So it's just, mistakes happen all the time. So you're gonna make sure you write which ones are spawning. I like to lower the second rune just a touch. So that's what that Ice Barrage is I'm just casting it once or twice just to get it, a little low. That 6,000 HP is perfect for dropping a magma on it to finish that off. And so now I'm just building. I'm going to be building some of the mage dual wield passive stacks. I'm going to throw on my Ring of Death. It's just good to save the kill, because also I don't have a Sign of Life on this account, but a Sign of Life could notoriously mess things up because it kind of ruins your adren. And then we're just building up. I use a Natural Instinct into a Sunshine just because this part, I don't want to say it goes fast, but as a Natural Instinct into a Sunshine, Tsunami, FSOA. If you want, at that point, you can also swap to Big Sang for just a little bit more damage. Totally up to you. And then I'm going to basically pre-pop a Devotion, or I might pop it after I run up. Yeah, so I'm dropping my Magma, hitting my Devotion, swapping the Melee Prayer, doing Sonic, Runic, G-Conk, Omni, and you'll see it does tons of damage. And I managed to swap to my Mage Prayer right at the end, so the Melee Slam kills me. I had the Ring of Death, so it's not a problem. If I obviously didn't mess that up and I kept my Melee Prayer on, if you needed it, you would have been able to throw in an extra Wild Magic or a Staff Spec, something. But with that said, still got the kill, still not a problem. You'll also see on the P7 on that last phase, I did Smoke Cloud, I did Foam. That's kind of the only time I do it, just because I really want to make sure I have my full damage potential. Beyond that, yeah, this is just to kind of prove that no matter how terribly everything goes, as long as you just kind of keep your head, don't panic, you focus, you can get the kill. So I hope this helps in some way, gives just a little bit of pointers, motivation, explanation, and with that, good luck everyone.